Greetings and welcome back to the channel. Today is one of those, well, first off, Happy New Year. Yay, 2026, first video. So today is one of those videos, one of those topics that will probably upset people. Thank you, Mr. Computer. Because it's a topic that people have very strong emotions about, very strong opinions and feelings. And that is the use of AI in general, but specifically for this video, I will be talking about its use in role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons. So this is my initial thoughts, AI in general, because I think there is a difference between what we're going to talk about and what the general distrust, dislike, or apathy about AI is. In general, the idea of AI is actually a really bad name because it isn't artificial intelligence at all. There's no intelligence behind it. There's no, we're not getting the Terminator out of ChatGPT. That's not going to happen. This isn't some sentient, intelligent thing that you are talking to. It's a programmed, what they call a large language machine, LLM. Correct me if that's the right thing. And basically what it does is you type a question in or ask a question or, raise something, and it has been programmed to look up through the internet for an answer. It knows exactly what to put into a search engine, what websites to look at, and so forth. And the big problem here is for some people is that it has been trained when generating artwork on people's art who were not consulted in the first place. The problem in the real world, very simply, is that this sort of AI has the potential to take people's jobs away. I don't think it actually will. I think, and so do many others in my research, seem to think that the AI bubble is going to pop at some point. That it's basically too expensive to run and doesn't generate enough money back, sort of thing. But basically, there are concerns that the likes of Hollywood and TV studios, whatever you might want to call them, are going to basically use AI instead of hiring script writers, instead of hiring someone to do special effects, and things like that. The publishing industry, if you don't have to pay an author, why bother? You could just have AI write a novel. If you ever tried to get an AI to do that, it's just like it fails abysmally. 50 Shades is a far better example. Pardon me. In the music industry, again, I know there are already AI acts, AI bands, so they don't have to pay anybody. This sort of thing, and obviously artists, which is the big thing, is where we don't want AI to go. If you are using this to make a substantial amount of money at the cost of somebody's job, AI is bad. But how does this apply to the likes of role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons? Well, there are a couple of things. One, if you remember, I think it was, I want to say early last year, so early 2025. Someone correct me again if I'm wrong. Wizards of the Coast got into trouble with the community because they posted a piece of artwork, I think. I can't remember if it was for D&D or Magic the Gathering, but they showed a picture which apparently was human-made with no AI usage. But keen-eyed people who know these things better than I noticed that some elements of it were definitely AI generated. And in the end, they had to turn around and say that the artwork had been touched up and corrected in places with AI. And suddenly people were, the sky was falling in. I think it was a bit of an overreaction. They said themselves that the art was human made. They just touched up a few things, and I don't generally see a problem with that. You could say that they should have gone back to the artist, but maybe this art was commissioned a year or more before. You can't really go back and go, can you change it now? So, fair play to an extent. But the thing comes down to, I think, more for us in the role-playing community is about products. A recent poll I saw online was, would you buy a product? Would you be more or less likely to buy a product if it was labelled as having been AI generated or AI influenced? And the amount of people who went, it would negatively impact me, I would not buy it, I wouldn't even give it the time of day. And I think, I think it's a bit of an awkward one. I think if you are a publishing company, if you are Wizards of the Coast or Paizo or a company that has some money behind it, that you can hire an author, you can hire writers, whether they are in-house or freelancers, then you should not be using AI, because this goes back to what I said earlier about taking away somebody's job. I would rather have a product that was written by an actual person who knows the game, who knows the setting, who knows the whatever, the ins and outs, and has written that with it in mind. Likewise, the same with art. Although art I'm a little less personally fussy on, I would prefer a properly published product, a lot of P's in there, to have a human artist, especially if you're going to make a load of money out of it. On a flip side, there is the case of places like DriveThruRPG, is it Dungeon Master DM's Guild or whatever? You've got these hosting sites that sell PDF products for you. And there are publishing companies that sell through that. There are also people like you and I who sit at home, write our own stuff, and post it online for a few bucks here and there. Now, for me, if it was generated by AI, i.e. you didn't write it yourself, it's right out. I wouldn't have it. But I don't fault somebody for using AI-generated art in that regards. If you're selling this for yourself, you're not out to make a bunch of money, you make $2 or $3 off of it, I frankly don't care. You're not taking away somebody's job. Many years ago now, probably going back about 10 years, I did ponder writing some scenarios and putting them up for sale, that sort of thing. And the big thing that stopped me doing it was I had no way of paying for an artist. I know friends who are artists, and they aren't going to do that work for free, which is fair play. At the time, AI was very, very basic, and I don't think it even crossed my mind to generate art that way. So for a small thing like that, if it's human made, I don't care. Human written, I don't care whether you pulled some AI stuff off of. People's arguments for AI art is basically that it's been based on somebody else's work. But to be honest, I would go with the argument that every piece of art in the world has been influenced by somebody else. AI art is no different, whether the person behind it was aware of it or not. Your art style, if you are an artist, has been copied from multiple other artists, and AI is no different. And if you were to do a painting and sell it, either to your friends, family, at an art craft store or a car boot sale or whatever, you are still benefiting financially from the fact that you have copied somebody else's art, or incorporated, I should say, somebody else's art style, multiple people's art style. So I think art is a little bit more subjective. If you can afford to pay for an artist to do your product, then fine. If not, AI art shouldn't be a problem for anybody. But that's not the only thing. I don't want to just focus on that sort of thing. That's kind of the commercial view on it. If you are doing it, so I'm just going to repeat myself, if you were to take somebody's job away from them, then, don't actually pay that person. If you don't have the means, financially or otherwise, to hire an artist, even to do just black and white drawings, AI shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, the main sort of thing for AI, and I do this, is I use, I mentioned ChatGPT earlier, and I use that to help me with my campaign setting. What I did with this is I put the information that I had written, which was a document, because you can upload a document and it will read it and base it all on that. And I uploaded what I had, which at the time was probably about 5 pages, maybe 6, of text. And I asked it step by step to extrapolate on nations and the deities. And then I went through and tweaked that myself before finalizing it in my product, my homebrew setting. When I say product, I'm not putting it out there to sell. And there are people who don't like this either. You are using ChatGPT when you should be using your noggin. Well, some of us aren't that clever. Some of us, aren't gifted writers. Some of us aren't, amateur novelists. Some of us are very amateur world builders, and we want a better quality product. And something like using an AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini on your phone or whatever, my thing is use it. Use it to help you out. As long as you just don't take what it spews out verbatim. What's the problem? Put what you want in, get it to extrapolate it, tweak it, and put it in your document. The same thing goes for art. No one is going to see this product, this campaign setting or adventure or whatever, except for you and your players. You're not putting it out there to sell. You're putting this out there for you and your group to play with, so nobody else is going to see it. And I do not see that as being any different than going through Google and doing a search for chunky orc, barbarian, warrior, battle axe, plate, blah, finding what artwork that someone has uploaded to the internet anyway and downloading it. We've all done that for years. Going back, 20 years I've done that. I've collected Warhammer 40k artwork for screensavers. I've got the same for D&D art, which I've used in my campaign setting as well. I have a selection of that I have found on Google and just downloaded it. No, it's not mine, but I'm not doing anything with it where I'm using it to credit somebody else. It's just a screensaver or it's artwork I can use in my own home product. So I think this is where the crunch of the situation comes in. AI in one setting, like I said, where it takes away people's jobs, where you're making a shed load of money off of it, don't do it. That's one thing. Using it, if you are a lone DM at home writing a scenario you're going to sell for a couple of bucks on some PDF hosting site, as long as you wrote it yourself, which I think a lot of people would agree with, it shouldn't matter whether you've created your own artwork through AI if you can't afford it. If you can afford it, do it. But there are people who are really against the idea of you using AI to help you with your games. I know some YouTubers who have said they use it to generate dungeon maps. They use it to generate room descriptions. They use it to generate names, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of the real purpose for it. It's a tool like anything else. I'll give you an example. I have something in my campaign setting in the background. One of my groups, I have it here somewhere, Of my 2 campaigns I'm running in my world, one party has learned something about the nature of the setting and the nature of player characters through their character. And I put that information into ChatGPT in my little folder where I have my setting documents, and it came back with this write out of this particular item, not a magic item, but something instrumental to the core of part of the setting. And it wrote this really detailed description of it in ways I would not have done, because my brain doesn't work like that. And it gave me chills, literally. I even replied, it's bad. I know it says that, every time you type something, it's burning up so much. But I had to type back and just say, I always say thank you to AI, because just in case they ever do take over the world, then they can let me live. I can be the AI's pet. But I said, what you've done here has almost made me scream. It's really emotional. And that's what it's done. You can get something like that out of there that you might not have clocked. So my recommendation is this. For your home games, I know this is a long-winded, gone on slightly longer than I'd anticipated. It's a long-winded topic that some people are really going to disagree with, and I get that. And, please be polite in the comments or whatever. But it's something that you can use as a tool, as a DM. I don't recommend you using it to fully do everything for you. That's just silly. But where you need ideas, or you, like me, you're not very good at writing this stuff down and making it coherent, you can use something like an AI chat GPT type program in order to flesh it out and make it more readable and contained for your players and anyone else who is likely to read it. Use AI for that sort of thing, and I don't think there's a problem. But, you tell me, what are your thoughts on this? I'm really interested. I'm not so worried about the real world applications. That I think we can all agree on. But for the role playing and the D&D sort of style aspect, do you use AI for your DMing, for your notes, for ideas? If you do, how does that work for you? Do you do it differently to what I've described? And if you're against it, please politely, let's be polite, explain to me why not. And if it's going to be an argument where you go, well, this is something that you're supposed to do out of your own brain, not everybody has those skills. Remember that. Anyway, put your comments down below. Give the video a big thumbs up like this. Yay. And hit the subscribe button. Don't forget that one. And I will see you guys in the comments and in the next video. Until then, happy 2026. And hopefully this year I'm going to get some more videos out than I have last time. Take care, guys. Good gaming.